Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with the visible image artist trading card swap for May 2024, and the topic this month is celebrations. It's the 3rd anniversary of the ATC swap for visible image, so that's why the topic is celebrations. And I had a look through my stamps and I thought a celebration cake would be great. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and I've done a bit of crafting, mainly because I wanted this to dry, and yesterday when I thought I would put my camera on, I was waiting for a phone call and I didn't want to be interrupted, so I thought I'd just do this off camera but quickly talk you through what I have done. So let me just zoom in a little bit. I am using the stamp set here, Blow Out the Candles. Need to zoom out again. So I've used the big cake, and I've also stamped these 3 candles because it's the 3rd anniversary. That fitted really nicely. And this stamp set has got a coordinating die set as well. So I've used the dies here for the cake, but also I've only done it once now. I want to show you a little trick for when you stamp and die cut the candles, and you need a few more than just the 3. What I've done is I have stamped these in my stamping platform, and then I just moved the cardstock up to stamp them again. And let me just peel this off here. I have aligned the dies on the candles here, so like this. I put the tape all across. This is a low-tech tape. This is from Scotch, the removable tape. Any low-tech tape would work. I've die cut this, but now because I've stamped these again in the same position, I can just use the dies like this and align them, and I don't need to do it individually. So that's a little tip for multiple stamping and die cutting. So I can just place it down like this without, as I said, having to do it individually. What I've also done with all of these is I have stamped these with my VersaFine, but I've also used clear embossing powder. So you've got a bit of a shine to them. Don't know if the camera picks that up, but I've also got a bit of an edge. The reason why I did this was a sort of a halfway through thought after I just stamped them, is I wanted to use some alcohol markers on these. And with the VersaFine ink, that can bleed and smear a little bit when you use alcohol markers. I know there are other inks out there where that doesn't happen. I think a Memento ink it's called. I've got a StazOn, but StazOn is not very good for your stamps themselves unless you really clean it off very quickly. So I just thought I'd do that. The only tricky thing was, again, I don't know if the camera picks it up, where you've got lots of little black dots now with the clear embossing powder. It was a bit tricky to get in between with my alcohol marker, and also there are 2 spots where the clear embossing powder sprayed, so I obviously could not colour those, and there was another one somewhere. But never mind, I was happy with that. So I just used a lighter brown for the actual cake, and then a darker brown. These are just, I think, yeah, no, this one's from the works. This one I think is from Germany. So just a plain alcohol marker, so a lighter one for there and a darker one for the chocolate filling and for the top. And then on the top I have used my glossy accents, but I'm just going to show you that in a second, how I did that. The only thing I wanted to show you is as well, before I use the glossy accents, I cut the cake into 2 parts because I wanted just a little bit for the ATC, and this one will go onto my main card. Obviously you can do 2 cakes if you wanted to, but I cut it apart before I added the glossy accents. Obviously I could have left it to dry completely and then cut it apart, but I think this is better. But I just wanted to show you how I use the glossy accents. I haven't used this for quite a long time. I used to buy my first bottle I bought for my jewellery making, but I only recently, as I said, started using it, and I thought it's worth showing you a little trick or how I do it. So I've just got some scrap paper here. I'm just grabbing a black pen just to imitate the outline. So whatever you have, obviously it's not the same as working on embossed areas. And then for this one, I'm just putting in some brown here, just filling it in. Can leave that to dry a little bit as well. Let me just zoom in just a little bit more. I know the lighting's not great. So what I do with the glossy accents is obviously make sure it's upside down, and then I just put a blob in the middle, sometimes more than a blob. Make sure it's not coming out massively. Oh, yeah, there we go. So if you have a bit of a clog, get rid of it on the side. So I'm just putting a blob on like this. Let me just lift that up to the camera again as well. And then I'm just using my dotting tool and I'm moving it around towards the edges. And I find that gives the best result. You see what I've done? Rather than trying to do it with a nozzle of the bottle, I think this is definitely the best one. So, and then you need to leave it to dry. Well, I left mine to dry overnight, so it takes quite a bit. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to die cut the candles now. I think I'll quickly colour them in off camera. I just want them different colours, and then I'll show you another technique for the background. I want to use 2 stencils for that today. I've done some really basic colouring for the candles, so just a plain colour here at the bottom that shows some red, blue and green, and the flame I just put down some yellow and then a little bit of orange in the middle there, and I think that's just enough. So for the background, I have decided to do some double stenciling. So I have chosen 2 stencils here. The one here, that is Time Tunnel, and this one here is Distorted Chess. Ideally you would like one stencil that's got a bigger opening and then with one with a smaller opening. These are sort of similar, but I just decided to go with that. I'm just sticking the first stencil down with some tape, and I'm just working on my usual 300 GSM cardstock. And for the background, I was having a look what would go with the chocolate cake. I'm just going for some yellow. It's a darker yellow, not too bright. This is just from the Lavinia Elements range. And I'm just inking this up as normal, starting in the middle. I actually don't want a very heavy application. I shouldn't have come in like that, but it doesn't matter because it's in the centre anyway. And I'm just doing the whole square panel. I will cut this apart. Obviously, I just need a little bit for the ATC, and the rest I will just use for the card that goes with the ATC. So just trying to go into the direction of the stencil, using a bit of scrap paper so I don't get my fingers yellow. So as I said, just ideally just a light application. Got a bit of a stain there now where I went directly in with a brush. It doesn't matter. I'm doing this all in one colour. You could come in with 2 colours, but I think one will just be fine. I had a thought whether I should use some orange, but I think if I just do a second layer with a heavier application, that will be fine. Going into the little bit as well. Trying to blend this out a little bit where I'm a bit too dark in the middle. Okie doke. So, and the second one now just goes on top. I don't think it matters which way around this one goes. And we're stenciling over that as well, but only obviously where we've got the openings underneath will actually go through onto the cardstock. So you've got the look of the second stencil in combination with the first one. This time I definitely want a heavy application. I'm being a bit mindful where I've got the stencil underneath. I don't need to put too much ink on there, but I definitely want to go through where both are open. And this time I can go in all directions because this stencil holds the one underneath down, so I'm sure I'm not moving any of those spiral bits. So I think I'm quickly speeding that up for the video. Okay, when you think you've caught everywhere, I wasn't quite sure in some of the areas whether it was actually the stencil underneath or the cardstock. So when you've got it all done, you can lift both of the stencils up. I'm going to give them a quick wash in a moment, and then you've got this look. So basically you've got the pattern of the second stencil on the first stencil. So I'm contemplating though whether I want the other areas covered as well. What I could do is just go in with a light application, or what I was just thinking, I've never tried that before, whether I could shift this stencil like so, and whether that would cover the areas I've done, and yeah, that works. So if I put it on like this, I'm covering what I have already stenciled and could come in with a different colour. I've got a few edges there, but I'm not bothered about that. Even if I end up with slight, a few bits that are white, I think that would add to it. So I'm just picking a different colour. I'm just putting another piece of paper underneath as well so I can go over the edges. And yeah, then I'll show you how to do that. The only problem, I need to be mindful of the edges here, because I don't want the edge of the stencil to go there, if you know what I mean. So same on the top there and on the side. I'll give it a try anyway. So this time I'll come in with my orange. I know that this one's quite juicy. I thought it was. It's not too bad actually. So, and I also have got some residue of the yellow on there, so that will blend in as well. So it's not too bad actually. So again, I'm trying to go into the direction of that stencil without shifting it too much. So then I can lift it up as well underneath to have a look. It's a very interesting effect. I might just, to avoid going too close there, I might just stay in the middle here. And not get too close to the top, just let it fade out. So let me take this off. Very interesting. Obviously the centre was still covered. But yeah, I think this looks quite cool. So I think what I would do is to just take the residue on the brush and just take off the harsh white here just by going over this. Same in the middle, there is a bit of a white edge there. Yeah, I think this looks quite cool. And I can imagine that if you do that in colours that have got higher contrast, the effect will even be better, I think. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose an area that I want for my ATC, for the cake to sit on. The ATC, if you don't know, that is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So I will just choose a little area. I might even cover this with some orange, and then I will choose the rest or part of the rest for the other card. I quickly do this off camera. What you can do is cut yourself a little piece of acetate and draw the shape on there to check what area you want. I've used a die in the past that's a similar area, but I think today I'll just use my guillotine and just start cutting along. So I've cut my 2 panels, so cut this one first and then just cut this one straight for the main card. But I wanted to have a sentiment on this, so I looked at my go-to words. These are my favourite sentiment stamps ever. I even use them on other cards. So I thought the congratulations would be great for the anniversary, and I happen to have just bought online, and it arrived this morning, the VersaFine Claire Cheerful, because I didn't have a proper yellow ink to stamp with. I just had a trial run. I think this would be perfect. And I'm just stamping this on, so you can't see that there. I'm just inking this up as normal. I'm just stamping this on the edge. I don't mind that this is tone on tone and will get lost just a little bit, because I just want that as a little feature, not too much in the face, but I think it will be nice. I even considered stamping it all over, but then it might be too busy, the background, definitely for the ATC itself. There we go. So it's just a hint there. It might be an idea to heat emboss it, but obviously as in clear, so you can have the yellow, but obviously the other ink isn't dry yet. So I will be doing something similar with a main card. The main card I will definitely finish off camera, so I'll show you that, but it will be very similar to the ATC. So my idea is just to place the cake here on the edge, and then I can place the 3 candles, one green one blue one. Might have to put this one on the side here, just on the top. And I think what I will do is I think I will place them on the cake first, just with a little bit of glue, and then I can see where they overlap, and I will put a little bit of, just contemplating whether I want foam tape on them or whether I just use a little bit of my cut-offs. I think that's what I will do, just as a support where they are a bit higher. I quickly show that to you in a second, but I quickly glue these down off camera. Because I'm working on the glossy accents, I glued my candles down with my collal glue. So you want, I think, ideally an acrylic glue. For the rest, I will just use my magic glue. But I just had a brainwave. Rather than using just strips of paper, I just cut some more candles just out of white cardstock, just out of the scrap. So I can place these on here now and mark with a pencil how much I need to cut off. And then I can place these on the back, just glue them down and basically make up for the height difference here on that piece. So, and then I will just place it down on my ATC. I don't think I need to add anything else. I think that would be full enough. And yeah, and I'll do the same with the card, and in a moment I will show you my finished pieces. Here are my finished ATC and the accompanying card. So I'm really pleased with this here now. I did go over the brown with a shimmer pen just because it looked a bit plain and matte compared to the glossy accents there. But yeah, and I've got the dimension there on the candles at the top, and I'm really pleased with this. And I think the double stenciling in the back is a nice feature. So for this one, I just stamped the sentiment here on the side. Obviously, with that being this side of the cake, I had to put it on the right hand side. But yeah, I think that works really nicely as well. I could have put the panel up a little bit and spread it out, but I think this is nice, especially as it's a top folding card. I think it doesn't matter that it's at the bottom there. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these two. And yeah, if you like these two, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.